Without a shadow of a doubt, it's the Crunkest Show in social media history. I want to welcome you to another episode of the War Zone. I got my man in the building, Donovan Sadiq, the Queen, Demetra K, and I am the 5-star general. You don't want us to film, but your body cam's filming. But you don't want to release the tape. Sound like some bullshit going on to me. But we're going to talk about it tonight. Let's get to it. Say, man, I want to welcome you to another episode of the War Zone and tell you thank you for taking the time out to tune in. As you know, without you good people, we wouldn't have a show. So you are the best audience in the world, and we really appreciate you taking the time out. Now, I want to send a shout out to everybody. You know, Donovan and Demetra from California, I'm from Texas, but we got people from all over the world watching this show, man. So we want to send you a big shout out. I can't scream all them names, man. You know where you're from. In the comments, let us know where you're from, man. So we can show you some love. You know, I'm Scarface. I talked to him today. That's my partner. He doing pretty good. Actually was about to get up out the house when I talked to him. And you know, like he say, man, just put where you're from in there, and like Face would tell you, man, show your partner some love, man. What's going on, Donovan?
Hey, Wednesday, it's hump day. We made it halfway through the week. 40% of y'all ain't got no jobs, no way. So you ain't doing nothing but sitting at home waiting for entertainment. The truth hurts. I know. As you guys know, tonight, probably as we're doing this broadcast, Joe Biden is going to brag about everything that he's done for America and all these other groups, except for you Negroes out there, because, you know, I didn't do nothing for y'all, but I stand with y'all for putting me in the White House. You dumb fool.
You got a lot of feedback on your mic.
Oh, sorry about that. And so Joe Biden's going to be speaking today in regards to everything that he has done for us. $600 checks, $1,200 checks, all that other good stuff. And then if you guys have not heard it, we're going to talk about it a little bit. The judge in the Brown shooting said that they cannot see the tape. It can't be released for public, but his son and one attorney will be allowed to do so. And it's just, it's evident what they're doing. And they're saying that after it's edited, it won't be released for 40-something days for the public to see once everything gets edited out and, it doesn't impede investigations. But what does that tell you guys? I mean, they've already had, the guy was shot, 10 days ago, and they still haven't got this thing out? It's just crazy. But look how many Black people live in North Carolina. And yet, how did this law even come into being, knowing how police treat us? It's going to get interesting.
Well, I tell you something, Joe. I ain't going to tell them tonight. They working on a full stimulus. You got 55 or 75 Democrats, however many it is, 75 political people that want to give the general public $2,000 a month as far as, a stimulus payment. But Joe ain't going to tell you tonight he doesn't support that. Demetra?
So hello, everybody. I hope everything is going well. If you could do us a favor and share this live so that everybody else can get the information and join in on the conversation, we would greatly appreciate it. So tonight we're going to start off talking about that of Andrew Brown Jr., who was shot there in Elizabeth City, North Carolina, I believe it is. He was, I guess you say the police officers were trying to execute a drug warrant, and they never found any drugs or anything like that. But, needless to say, he was fleeing the scene from what, they say. And he was shot ultimately in the back of the head. And from what I understand, it said about 40 bullets struck him and the car. And the fatal blow was that of the one to the back of the head. And as Donovan said, they will not allow the public to view the video, and even the video that the lawyer and his family are going to be able to view. It's redacted, meaning that they're blurring out the officers' faces. I guess they don't want people to know who actually executed them. Let's call it what it is, an execution. Now they're also saying, from what they can see, you know, in the video, we haven't seen it, that Brown's car struck two of the officers. This is what they're saying, right? Now, to me, if that was the case, why wouldn't they just, you know, release the video? But, you know, of course, they're going to do a whole lot of running around with the videotape. Now, of course, that also leads people to think the longer they take to release the tape, because you guys know in Ohio with Ma'Khia Bryant, they released that video right away, you know, to exonerate the officers. But, you know, I think the public would tend to think, well, for one, you're holding the tape because you want to redact it. But while you're redacting it, are you also editing it? Like, what are you doing with this tape? Why can't we see what happened? Because eventually the public is going to see what happened. So, Gary, what say you?
I got a problem with not showing the tape. I got a problem with redactions for one reason, especially like in Houston. When you brought that shit to us and you wanted us to support it, you promised us all over the country that you would release these tapes. And the only time you release them is when you feel like the shooting is a good shooting. That's the only time they release these tapes. Why don't you hold them and redact them then? This is a game of cat and mouse. This is a game of cat and mouse. So if you're going to show the family a redacted tape, and what you said was profound, they have the ability to alter these tapes. They have the ability. If you can't show us what the hell went on, then we don't need to see no redaction. That's like me just watching the middle of a movie. I want to see the whole damn movie. But these are the people that we vote in that make these decisions. Oh, I don't want it to be a political decision. No, you don't want it to be a bad shooting. Donovan.
Yeah, you know, the sad thing about all of that is this. We know that to edit a tape and just alter a tape, I mean, I'm 50 years old and I can do that within a couple of minutes, depending on what kind of software it is. So we know that that is a possibility. And then when you got to do that and you're taking your time to do that, that just puts in more doubt and more doubt and more doubt. But here's one thing that the white man knows about the black man. I've got my black bootlicks out there. I got my black pastors out there that will go ahead and tell the people, y'all just be patient now. Y'all got to trust the system now. We got to be patient. This good white man, you know, it's going to be all right because we going to pray on it. We going to pray. We want y'all to be patient. Yeah, they shooting y'all down. They killing y'all. But don't forget, I need some more money in that Tide Bowl this Sunday. That's, you know, and that's what they know. They're going to have these bootlicks that are going to keep us in control. But just like I said a couple of days, Maxine Waters, give her props. All it's going to take, one day there is going to be one bold black leader that's going to say the right thing in our favor. That's going to set this mother off, and that's just going to be a fact because people are getting tired. People are getting tired. The excuses don't make sense. They want us to follow the rules, but they're not following the rules. You're shooting a man fleeing, and I believe in North Carolina, there is a statute, a federal statute. Remember, the federal law is supreme law. There is a federal statute that I think was passed in 1985 that said that if a person is fleeing away from you, because you're serving a warrant, you already know where they live, you know where their family is, you have all that information. The man is fleeing. You're supposed to break and let him go and just do that. It's not supposed to end up in a deadly encounter. But basically what they want is their word against the other word. And I feared for my life. You got the guns, you got the taser, you got the mace, you got the club. How the hell are you fleeing for your life? And then all of those officers serving the warrant were in tactical military gear. Come on, y'all. Y'all need to wake up. And it doesn't make sense to me. You're in a state that is predominantly a lot of black people, and these laws are passed and nobody is aware of them.
Yeah, so no, absolutely. I was gonna say here, So, of course, the family, from what they saw, was a 20-second tape, a portion of the tape last week. And, they said from what they saw was early this week when they said it looks like an execution to them. And they said, the attorney said, per what they saw, he was not a threat to the officers. And so the judge and I guess the chief of the police department, they're pretty mad about them saying that it was an execution. But I'm like, if it wasn't an execution, just show the tape. If it wasn't an execution, prove them wrong. Like, you remove all doubt and show what happened. But they won't do that. And so I guess per the law there, that the tape is not public and they need a court order in order to release it. Now, the media has petitioned to get the footage, but it was denied. It says, too, that the sheriff department asked that the tape be released. And that's when I guess the judge said, all right, the lawyer and a family member would be able to view the tape, redacted, of course, again, without the officers' badge numbers and their face, but they could not take a copy with them. And so, basically, I guess they can go out and say what they saw, but everyone else won't be able to see it. So they're completely trying to control the narrative there. And, they're trying to control the narrative because it's not good, in my opinion.
Well, that's in North Carolina, right? Well, let's go down to Louisiana. Trayford Pellerin's father had a meeting this morning with the district attorney. They refused to release his tape. It's the blueprint across the country, man. It's the blueprint across the country. But I'm gonna say this here. You just asked me earlier, when is hurricane season? Well, Hurricane 5 Star about to come to Louisiana. Hurricane 5 Star about to come back to Louisiana. Now, y'all done had almost a whole year to play this game. You know it was a bad shooting. Just own it. Own it. You see what I'm saying? Just own it. If we break the slightest law, if you have a traffic infraction, Sandra Bland, then you're gonna die. You're gonna die. And enough is enough, man. But not my peoples. The village community group down there. They was in front of the courthouse this morning, and how that's working out for y'all, man. All that singing. You must didn't hit the right note. You should hit a little Richard note this morning or something. Because the singing ain't getting the tapes released. Hurricane 5 Star is coming to Louisiana. I ain't finna do that much talking.
Yeah, they're shooting Black people so much after these last verdicts and after Trump has left office, and within these last 100 days, that have you guys noticed that it's almost like normal now. It's almost, repetitively normal. And I have a friend that's a psychologist or something. He was saying that it's kind of like, when you're in the military and you're overseas in a combat, area zone. And they actually did a study in Israel and in Palestine, where they took Palestinian children that are so used to bombs and shooting, and they are so desensitized by it that they compared those kids with inner city Black kids from cities like LA, Houston, New York. They almost had the same type of verbiage in how they reacted to the sounds and stuff, which goes to show you that this is, Brad Jordan, mine's playing tricks on you, but they ain't playing no tricks. They're actually killing us in the streets. I have yet to hear any local politician, and I know people in the comments are going to say this, and you got those that are going to say it. Well, legislation isn't going to stop them from killing us, but it will help in the prosecution because they broke a law. We cannot repeal a qualified immunity without legislation being introduced. So I just wish you guys would stop giving these politicians a pass. I wish you would stop voting for your own oppression. I mean, I'm at a point to where we've been doing this for a couple of years now. Everything that we've said up until this point has happened. Joe Biden is in office. We gave you guys a year and we told you, no, you don't want to do with Joe Biden and all this mass incarceration. Nothing. If you're going to listen to Joe Biden tonight, they said he's going to address the black shootings. Addressing the black shootings and actually putting pen to paper are two different things.
Address the black shootings from a Dixiecrat perspective. That should be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it should be interesting. I mean, I did see that he was supposed to be addressing it, but it's like, I mean, you're pro-police. You and Kamala you both said that you weren't interested in defunding the police. In fact, in your Lift Every Voice plan, you're going to be giving more money to policing. And so what could you really say to help the situation? I mean, go ahead and write some executive orders. How about you make black people a protected class of citizens like you've done with the Asians? And, you know, call it an automatic hate crime when police officers run around killing black people unjustly. Why not do that? I mean, anything else you're going to do is just really more lip service to this point. We've heard enough lip service from Joe Biden. In fact, we've heard enough lip service from everybody. Get your ass on TV and say, right now, I'm signing a bill to protect black people and to snatch away qualified immunity for police officers who murder black people wholesale. Because even in this situation, there was 7 cops involved. 2 of them have resigned. 1 retired. And it is also said that not all of them did the shooting, but because they were all there to execute the warrant is why they're on administrative leave. But to me, I don't know. I'm just speculating because I do that sometimes. But I'm thinking 2 resigned. They probably were guilty of sin because, you know, police officers resign in order to get their pension, because if they're fired, then they don't get it, right? So 2 resigned and 1 took a retirement, which he was probably, you know, guilty with, you know, in the murder too. Now the other 4, I don't know. Maybe they were just there. Maybe they didn't shoot. But I think that's very telling. But yeah, Joe Biden needs to get up there with some tangibles and not just talking, honestly.
He ain't gonna do a goddamn thing. Nothing. Dollar bill style. He ain't gonna do nothing. Joe Biden know the rules of the stripping game, partner. He ain't gonna do nothing. Where is the Congressional Black Caucus? Where are these people, man? Me and Demetri and Donovan and y'all, we can scream all day. These people have access to this clown. Why you can't put no pressure on this dude, man? Because just like they said about the 4th stimulus, it's some Democrats that don't want us to have it. So it's some Democrats that ain't got no problem with qualified immunity. It's some Democrats that ain't got no problem with black folk in target practice. Now, some people think, you know, my man up here asked the question. Let me find him real quick. Serious question from Parias. With the uptick in black shootings, do you suppose they're trying to set us off on purpose at this point? No, it's target practice. They've been doing this for 400 years. They just love to kill black folk. And they got something that they put in place during the civil rights movement, which is qualified immunity, where they can get away with it. So God bless the dudes that created camera phones. Because, man, keep them phones out, man. Imagine if that young lady had not filmed that George Floyd murder. Man, them phones got them nervous right now. Say, but as far as Joe Biden goes, man, you got what you paid for. You wanted him. It is what it is. It sounds good. But the dude is operating within the shell of being a Dixiecrat. The man never gave a damn about black people. He ain't finna start giving a damn about black people.
Yeah, I think it was 6 months ago where I was telling you guys on this show that when Joe Biden was talking about, I want to rebuild the middle class, he ain't talking to black folks. 70% of black folks ain't even in the middle class. So what made you think he was talking to you? And what I think, Parias, is this, and I said it in the comments and as I replied to you, just like they brought up the Asian hate crime thing, and that was a money move by the Asians to make themselves a protected class. And like bikers, they are prospects, they're white prospects, trying to join the white league. They're probationary whites. That was their move. Remember, we had a big drive in regards to cut the check, give us our reparations. Notice nobody's talking about that right now. Any distraction to keep us focused on, oh my gosh, they're shooting. Okay, let's be real, y'all. There's been killing in the Black community for years. A lot of Black on Black crime, whatever deals. We've been saying police killing Black people goes back. Rodney King is one of the more, recent ones that they got on videotape, but it goes back farther than that. I got a white friend that said, oh my gosh, Donovan, I had no idea that the cops were like out there like that. What the hell you think we've been talking about for 40 years? You know what I mean? So what I think it is, it's another ploy for them to get us off the mindset of the money. Because if we're not focused and pushing on that reparations thing, they have no justification. Because remember, a lot of people didn't know they just gave the Native Americans $30 billion under the same premise that we should get it. They said in the bill, the natives are discriminated against. They have housing shortages, employment, blah, blah, blah. You could take everything that they justified to give those natives 3 weeks ago, $30 billion. You can apply that to Black people. But notice nobody's talking about the money. Whenever Black people are talking about the money, our attention is diverted.
Gary, I want to share something, and can you put that up? Someone actually sent this to me. It was Kenitra, as a matter of fact. So thank you, Kenitra. So listen to this here, if you will. It's my first time working TikTok on a computer, so bear with me here, but just check this out.
Why they don't want to release that body cam footage. Here's some newly released footage of the cops rolling up on Andrew Brown Jr., released from a security camera nearby.
Tactical military gear.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we all know what that looks like. In response to this video, the FBI has opened a civil rights investigation. The least they could do. When does it stop?
So she said something. She said something that was very telling. She says, I think we all know what that looks like, right?
Mm-hmm.
What does that look like, Gary?
Patty rollers.
Exactly. Like we're going to go get us one. Yeah, and you know what else that looks like too? Remember we saw the Ahmaud Arbery tape, and they rolled up on their trucks like that? Like we finna go bag us one. That's what it looked like to me as well. So I don't know.
I want to read Deborah Locket's comment, and then I'm gonna go read Cert Red Eye's comment. Deborah Lockett, you just put this in here, and I want you to read. Just listen to me. She say, what will happen if the tables are turned and people start killing police? Cop killings used to be a thing a while back. Anybody remember that? Now, less than 2 minutes later, I put the comment up for you. Hold on. Active shooter here in North Carolina. 2 deputies shot. No deaths. It's the rules of the stripping game, partner. I ain't finna play this game, bro. Deborah, are you a prophet? I think you should open your own church. I think you should open your own church. I'll be your deacon. I'll be your deacon, doctor, whatever. Say, man, you keep doing it, they're gonna start killing cops. Then what you gonna say? You want to give them these fancy funerals with the flags and all. They're going to lower the flag. You might as well get ready. You might as well have somebody at the flagpoles practicing right now. You know, because you're going to be lowering them flags a whole bunch, bro. If you people don't get your minds right, man, these folks finna start busting back, and it is what it is, man. And I'm an activist, and I'm busy right now, so I can't come to the hood and tell them don't do it.
Yeah, I mean, again, where are the gangsters in the neighborhood? Where's you know? I mean, it's getting to that point. But notice whenever they're having a gun drive and they turn in your weapons, where do they go? Straight to the black neighborhood. They don't ever go to the white neighborhood when they're doing a turn in your gun drive. They go straight to the black neighborhood to disarm the people. And once you're disarmed, what you gonna do? If you're disarmed, what you gonna do? You're a grown man, and now they're in there, just like we saw yesterday, arresting 8, 12, 13-year-old kids and cuffing them, and we are powerless to do anything about it. One thing in the military that they taught us is you don't fire in a circle. You don't go where there's a lot of high buildings and you're enclosed. Anything can happen. But see, we don't think about that because you know what we're worried about? Oh, well, and it works even in Africa. The minute they say, "Oh, we're gonna get us right now," if everybody was up in arms about all these shootings right now, do you know what they would do to calm us down? Oh, we're about to give another stimulus, y'all, $2,000. Then everything will be, ooh, I can't wait till I get my. And that's what they're gonna do because they know how to play us, and they'll put your Kamala Harris is out there, your HBCUs out there. And I'm not downing HBCUs, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Oh, y'all got to do this. Y'all got to do that. Black Lives Matter raised all this money and haven't done anything for the black community. Why aren't we calling the Black Lives Matter out? But this lady could buy $1 million homes.
Well, first of all, we just screwed up, and there's no disrespect to the white allies. But we got black issues, man. What you expect for them folk to do when they get that kind of money? See, my daddy used to tell me, say, man, you'll never understand the character of a person until you put them in a room full of money. They put them people in the room with billions. They just gonna squeeze them off a few millions, and they gonna do what they do. But they've not put a dollar into the African American community across the country. And you guys still walking out there flying their flags and white folk is out there like they some straight up gorillas. Say, man, on the real, bro, man, can y'all go find your own revolution for a second? We got to get our stuff together, man. We got to go front line on ours, man. And see, you know what? They don't mind promoting white people to stand in the front of our revolution because they know they're not going to do nothing to them. Eventually, they're going to calm us down. They're going to bring us some rationale in the business. But if you unleash these gorillas on them, where it ain't no good white folk to help, man, them people be ducking for cover like they was on January 6th.
And I want to get this comment. I saw it a second ago. Ron Trell, how you doing? You say, hey, Gary, what is Tony Finna thinking in the back of his mind that he is involved with the Asian hate special on ABC tonight, knowing the government ain't doing nothing for black people?
I can't speak for Troy, but you got to remember who hired. And when you in that game, you got to play that game to a certain degree. Now, I will say this about Troy. He gives a damn about everybody. I know that for a fact, whether they Asian, black, whatever. Troy has lost 2 nephews in the last 3 years to gun violence alone. So he's very, very serious about that. But I can't answer that question. Matter of fact, I'll call Chief when we get off the air and see what he's talking about. But I got a meeting with him soon as I come to town. But I know he cares about every single person, and that's just how he's built. If you know him, because it ain't been hard to find him all these years. He always in the hood, and he the type of cop. He ain't just trying to take nobody to jail. You know what I'm saying? He gonna show you some love. Now, if you force him to do his job, he gonna do it. But I don't know what he thinking. I'm gonna tell you this here. Let's do this. I like to role play sometimes, not just in my pornographic life, but in regular war zone life. Officer Monroe, will you speak on the Asian hate crime bill? Yeah, if you can get these peanuts out your mouth. I ain't speaking on nothing. I ain't speaking on no Asians. I ain't speaking on no immigrant cribs and no cages. When you stop murdering black people, we can have a conversation. Because right now, nothing comes before my people.
Well, for me, I would just be interested in hearing what he has to say. I just want to see one of our people. And again, like you said, we don't know what the chief is going to do, so we can't really speak on that. But I'd like to see one of our people, quote unquote, get out there in the public on that podium in front of the media and say, you know what? While I do not agree that Asians should be attacked, I don't agree anybody should be attacked. But is this really a thing? And how is it that they have gotten a bill to protect them and my people don't have a bill? So now that's what I would be interested in hearing somebody ask those questions. Like, why? And Dr. Umar said it perfectly. He says, this has been going on with them, a year. Now, I'm not saying it's the first time that Asians have experienced racism, but on this level, I guess, if that's a thing, a year. But what about black people? For over 400 years, we've been going through that and 10 times, 100 times worse. So where is our bill?
You know who I would like to hear from? Two people in this country. I would love to hear from Pastor Thaddeus, the cussing pastor. And I'd like to hear from City Councilman Eric Mays out of Flint, Michigan. Because them two brothers gonna give it to you raw. They gonna see, if you a public servant, then what you asking folk for is gonna come out. That now, put me in the position of a school board rep. Do you really think I'm gonna hold my tongue to a certain degree? No, I'm gonna say what's on my heart. But these people that get into these positions, they play politics. They're not gonna say what they really feel, but they'll say it behind the scenes. They'll say it in private phone calls. Well, you ain't taping me, are you? Motherfucker, I tape when I'm sleeping. You already know that. But they don't have the heart to say it.
Yeah, so I mean, to me, that's what I am interested in hearing. But I don't know. Like with Joe Biden, he needs to say that I'm protecting black people and I'm actually going to do something. But something tells me he's not. Something tells me he's going to get up there and give the same rah-rah. And, y'all stood with me and I'm going to stand with you. And, we're making progress because there was a guilty verdict with Derek Chauvin. So the country, is taking a turn for the better. The tides are changing. Justice, black people. Because, see, that's really what the guilty verdict was supposed to do for black people. It was supposed to be more symbolism and this beacon of hope. Like, oh, now we're finally getting some justice. We can rest again and we could put away our picket signs and our marching shoes and everything's going to be okay. That's what that was supposed to do for us. But then, lo and behold, police officers are with the stuff again. Well, continue it rather by killing black people. They killed Ma'Khia Bryant minutes before the verdict was rendered. And of course, Andrew Brown, he was killed, shortly after that. And so, it's funny because somebody, I think it was Kiki, if I'm not mistaken, sent me something this morning. It was from last year, actually. And it was in North Carolina. Police officers were fired because they said that they are going to start a civil war on N-words, black people, that we need to be eradicated and this, that, and the other. Now, they heard the recordings because I guess periodically they do an audit of the police recordings, and they just happen to hear the conversation between these cops saying that they want to get rid of black people. And so again, that's North Carolina, but that's very telling. how many of them really think like that, right? That like, why are we surprised that they want to get rid of Black people? So the point that I'm making is they're not going to stop killing Black people, no matter what Joe Biden says. Somebody needs to take some action. I mean, Black people really are to a point to where we are endangered species. At this point, that's just what we are.
Yeah. For those that don't know, in Seattle, there's an interim mayor. The former police chief was a Black female. She resigned in regards to the fact that the city council there was defunding the police, and they were pulling their resources and reimagining the police and getting mental health people, but pulling from the resources. The interim police chief, matter of fact, just last night said that since October of last year, 66 officers have resigned, and in their exit interviews as these officers are resigning, they're saying it's because they do not feel that they have the support of the city council, the defunding of the police movement, all this other stuff. So they're saying they are mad at the simple fact that you won't sanction us killing citizens at will. And so we're going to get out while we can get out. And it's just a sad commentary that they have this mentality of us versus them. Now, we are quick to talk about all these policemen and all these police shootings, but you guys also got to remember, there are a lot of police chiefs that are Black, and yet the culture did not change under their regimes. Where's our outrage about that? We have these politicians that are sitting there again, and this is what Joe Biden's going to do tonight. I know it because it's a politician. Usually when you get a political win that proves that what you're saying is correct, that George Floyd bill should have been passed by Thursday of last week when it was going, because you're on a high. The public is happy. Everybody's breathing a sigh of relief, right? That's how it usually would go politically. But it didn't go anywhere. And did you see the Congressional Black Caucus, all 58 of them in their kente cloth, come out and kneel in support of getting that bill passed? Did you see any of them do that? No, because they know you guys go from tragedy to tragedy. Black people have an attention span of a gnat, just like this, because we are so busy trying to survive, trying to pay our bills, dealing with our children, getting our weed, drinking our Hennessy, twerking, whatever. And they know this. But the question is, why aren't we holding them accountable? Why do we keep voting for these clowns?
So
we keep voting for them because we ignorant. Not ignorant, we ignorant.
Ron Trell, you say, and this is why I put that up actually, you said a Hispanic man was just killed by the police recently, so I guess LULAC is gonna be asking Black people to stand with them. Watch. Now, what you're seeing here is that Felix Tijerina. He was the president of LULAC in the 50s, as you can see, 56 through 60, and he said the following: "Let the Negro fight his own battles. His problems are not mine. I don't want to ally with him." And so while they may want us to do that, they also need to remember this was the attitude of their president, so many years ago. And those things are taught. That attitude doesn't go away. Now, we also know not all, but some, I don't want to know what percentage of them want to be white supremacists, in that they want to be above Black people in every way, shape, and form. And so they too do the most to us. You know that in Los Angeles, their sheriff or police department is over 50% Hispanics. And you're starting to hear and see a lot of them subjugating Black people. And so they said via their president so long ago that they don't want to help Black people. Now, that's when we should say, great, you should help your own people. And we should be doing the same thing. So, because I don't get mad at Mr. Tijerina. I don't get mad at him for thinking that way. I'm thinking he's on code with his people. But it's us as Black people that want to go and put out everybody else's fire while our building is raging, burning. So we got to stop that. Let everybody take care of themselves. Marcus Garvey also told us, We shouldn't be trying to help nobody get anything until we have what the white man have, because back then, you know, that was our main oppressor. But he was saying, stop going to battle for other people. Our stuff is sinking. Our stuff, and we're beyond sinking, and we're so busy trying to go help everybody else for what? For to be noble, to be validated. Like, why are we doing that if we have nothing? Well, first of all, we're not getting anything out of going to help everybody. And we're also losing whatever ground that we do have. So I just wanted you to see that, Rontrell. If you get, you know, feel inclined to go help them, remember their president said that.
My mom, you know, it's funny that you said that. My mom said that. She goes, well, black, you know, and my mom comes from a different era. So God bless her, even though she's wrong. Black people have always stood up for everybody else. How the hell can we stand up for everybody else when our house isn't even in order? Julian Castro, the leader of the Hispanic caucus, are you guys aware there's a Hispanic caucus in Congress? He doesn't even cape for Hispanics. He capes for illegals, getting more of the, you know, the Hispanic people over here. But as far as Hispanics in the United States, he doesn't cape for Hispanics because he knows the Congressional Black Caucus will do it. And if you've been thinking about it, whenever they talk about the kids on the border and the kids on the cages and the outrage, who do you see doing all that? Karen Bass, Sheila Lee, you know, all these people, and they're all black. But when are the Congressional Black Caucus talking about the black kids in the cages? When are they ever talking about that? The black murders that are happening, they never do. They've got the blueprint because they know that generation has bought into this bullshit. We got to save it. We can't even save ourselves.
Why would we want to continue to stand up for people who don't stand up for us? I don't know. I just don't get it. Something is really wrong with us. So I'm a dog whistle a little bit. I really miss the NFAC. I miss Grandmaster Jay. You know, he stood up, man. You know, we might have had a couple of words, but you know, I always supported him. Let me dog whistle for y'all. What is you Negroes with all these black nationalist colors? With the red, the black, and the green. What is y'all doing, man? What are y'all doing, man? You ain't standing up. You ain't doing nothing. You know, I know the you know, when you walk out and your guns blazing and shit look good. A whole bunch of y'all soft as a box of booty, man. A whole bunch of y'all soft as a box of booty, man. And you ain't gonna do nothing. And right now where we are, man, we in a bad spot, bro. We in a bad spot, man. I mean, we could come on here every night and talk about this. You know, since George Floyd, 314 shootings by the police. 314. And we shouldn't be a protected class of people. I don't give a damn who run against Biden. Y'all need to take care of that, man. Y'all need to take care of that, man. Y'all put this man in here, and this man ain't doing nothing. And honestly, if it wouldn't be for Dr. J being in the news with not putting LeBron on his all-time first and second team, I wouldn't even think about no Chucks. Where your Chucks and your pearls at? Where's she at? Man, you don't even see this woman no more. Where's she at? I would tell you what she doing. Because, you know, both of us is, you know, adult entertainers. I could tell you what she doing. But I ain't gonna do that to her. But man, y'all need to wake up and smell the coffee, bro. Our representation is garbage.
Well, you know, in regards to the red, black, and green RBG, of course, you guys know that came from Marcus Garvey to represent Pan-Africanism because we didn't have a flag of our own. And so he said, well, this will be our flag, red, black, and green. And so, you know, Marcus Garvey's call was really for Black people to unify so that there would be less of a need for us to, you know, resort to violence, if you will. Because I know, you know, we see different groups, I guess, out there with the red, black, and green flag, and I guess they're trying to hold down the neighborhood and try to avenge people who have done wrong. But if you really follow the teachings of Marcus Garvey, you would kind of know that's being reactive. He wanted us to be proactive in organizing, you know, practicing group economics, building, and, you know, ultimately to get out of here, right? But so, I mean, people rep RBG, and I think people should. Of course, you guys know Pan-Africanism means that all Black people around the world are considered to be one family. Of course, you have this fight between Pan-Africanism and then, you know, ADOS, but Marcus Garvey thing was Pan-Africanism. And so there would be no, like I said, no need to try to fight and, you know, all this other stuff if we were proactive and follow the teachings of Marcus Garvey.
Robin Cooper say Biden Harris voters are quiet. We can't get them to say nothing. They messed up. They messed up, man. And now we getting exactly. We tried to tell y'all. We told y'all what was gonna happen. But now you getting exactly what you voted for. Nothing. I mean, you know, Sleepy Joe, he ain't working, man. And Janelle said Republicans are gonna take it all back. Democrats are pussyfooting around. You can bet their house on it. They're gonna lose it. They 2 years is over, bro.
13 votes in the House between the Republicans taking it back and you know, or the Democrats keeping it. 13 votes. So strategically, like we say on this show all the time, if you play chess, do the math. If you've got 58 congressional Black caucus members and Nancy Pelosi wants to put any legislation, who actually controls the board? The 58 or the other folks that she needs? The 58 does. Joe Manchin, a Republican Democrat, a Republican posing as a Democrat. One man is holding up all the legislation of the Democratic agenda that Joe Biden wants to put out there. One man, because he knows the numbers. It's 50-50 in the Senate. So you do your numbers and your math. Hey, doesn't matter if Kamala's the vice president. It's 50-50. Nothing gets passed without his say-so. So who's in control? It's called strategically planning and critically thinking. And we don't do enough of that. But what I think is going to happen tonight with Joe Biden is all the killing of Black people, he's going to use reverse psychology. And Dimitri, I think you took a couple of psychology courses in college. He's going to use reverse psychology and justify giving the police more money for training and equipment. And if you guys haven't been listening, in the 100 days since Joe Biden has been in office, he has authorized the transfer of military equipment that is coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan to local police departments across the nation, more so than Trump did in 4 years. He did it in 100 days. He authorized it. Equipment hasn't arrived, but it's on its way.
And yeah, you know, Joe Biden's speech will be for those people wearing the chucks and the pearls and the, oh, let's wait and see. Oh, give them a chance, people. That's who he's doing it for. He's doing it for the people who are still holding out hope that he's actually going to do something for Black people. You know what? I just tend to believe those people who are running around with chucks and pearls and all of that, they didn't care if Joe Biden did anything for Black people, because that wasn't even on their agenda. Their thing was just get Trump out of there. But yet you got the rest of us who are like, hey, you know what? You know, he has the power and he should be using it to actually do something for Black people. But because you have this class of Negroes who are just happy with symbolism, he won't do it. And so that's who he's going to do it for. He's not going to do it for the people who are really asking him to do something. And Sharon, you say, quote, "A people without the knowledge of their past history, origin, culture is like a tree without roots." And yes, that is Marcus Garvey. He did say that. And so I always tell people, read up on him. Go to YouTube, study Marcus Garvey. All these things you see, this conscious Black thought really came from Marcus Garvey. And we are, as Black people, we are so hard-headed, I think. That's the word. We're so hard-headed to where we just won't do the work. We used to do the work, you know, because back then our ancestors were Garveyites. Malcolm X's father was a Garveyite. And so Malcolm X was familiar with those things, and they would do the work. That's how Black Wall Street got built, and all of those other towns, and how we had our own everything, right? We had a sense of community because they did the work that Marcus Garvey was asking them to do. Now, I know the UNIA fell apart, but they were still along that train of thought. But we in 2021, we're so lazy. We don't want to do the work. And so we are detached from our past history. A lot of us don't even know it, don't care to know it. And it's sad, but we have to at least look into what he was saying. And then you guys will understand how and why we need to really do for self. That's what he was saying, do for self. And then a lot of other things will be much easier, I would think.
Well, you know, I'm going to the Black Wall Street Festival in May in Tulsa with my Panther brothers and sisters. People don't understand how fast things can change. Right now, you have the means and the ability to recreate Black Wall Street. It's enough businesses that closed down to where we can open Black-owned business. But we don't want to do that. We want to keep giving our money to the enemy. Yeah, I said it, and I ain't taking that back. We keep giving our money to the enemy. And the enemy treats us any kind of way they want to treat us. Y'all steady running up in them goddamn beauty supplies, man. You steadily running up in them nail shops. You know, you want to get your freak on, so you go to the Indian motel. You just steady spending your money with the enemy. And all these people out here that's Black, that's in positions of power, that say they give a damn about us, they're not even trying to promote recreating Black Wall Street. They're not trying to create, they're not trying to promote us trying to do for self. See, they got this. And they ain't trying to mess it up for nobody. You know, there's a lady in Fort Bend ISD named Danetta Williams. Straight up renegade. They done slipped up and let this woman get into office. Now, I'm going to be honest with y'all. If you ever saw me get down for the kids, she the female version. And when I say this woman be calling these people out in these meetings, calling them out on social media, telling them you're lying, say, man, them people wanted that woman out that seat as soon as she sat there. And I'm going to tell you something. The superintendent been there forever. 3 days after she won, he put in his resignation letter. See, he knew he couldn't play with her. He knew she wouldn't play the game. So, you know, we so stuck on this Republican and Democrat thing. I want you to listen to Joe tonight. Because somewhere in that speech, he's going to tell you he plays both sides of the aisle. He plays both sides of the aisle. So, I mean, come on, man, we smart. Well, I'm smart. Demetrius smart. Donovan's smart. A whole bunch of y'all smart. But it's a whole bunch of you Negroes that's just straight up dumb. I ain't finna give you no credit. When God was up there, when you was coming out your mama womb and God was putting them attributes in you, he forgot to put common sense in your head. Because some of y'all got the mental capacity of Tweety Bird. I'm being straight up, man. Because y'all let all this shit go on and y'all don't say nothing. Nothing. And then you want one or two revolutionaries to go out there and fight the whole war by themselves. Y'all got to be crazy. I'm going fishing.
Oh, check this out. Do you guys realize the premise for all of these shootings across the nation, George Floyd, you name it, any killings that have happened, any shootings, Tamir Rice, all of this stuff, what is the premise of why this is all happening? Does anybody seem to know that? I'll tell you why. The 1994 crime bill. It increased police. It put 100,000 police officers on the streets. It made them aggressive. It does all that. So now your savior, Joe Biden, has come into office, the author of the crime bill. Do you hear him talking about repealing it? Do you hear the congressional talkers who said at the time, well, you know, it was popular, we had to do what we had to do? And don't say, well, that was 30 years ago. Do you guys realize when it comes to Black politicians, we got to carry them out in caskets. So a lot of the politicians that were there then are here now. Not one of them is talking about repealing that 1994 crime bill. If you don't repeal the 1994 crime bill, what's going to change in the culture of policing? Nothing. But you got these HBCU graduates, all these folks over here doing all this stuff. But nobody is talking about the fundamental foundation of why these policemen are as aggressive as they are, and they're incentivized. They are incentivized by that 1994 crime bill. And nobody's talking about that. But dumb old aeronautical a-hole Donovan just hit it right on the nail.
I want to talk about, somebody keeps saying about a third party. Yeah, we need a third party. We need our own party. Dr. Claude Anderson tells us to, find a candidate and we all get behind them and, put our votes behind them. But see, the problem is Black people are a Democrat to a fault, and we can't see going against the Democratic Party. We feel like it's a disgrace, that we even entertained voting for a different party. We just couldn't see of it, because my mama voted and her mama, so on and so forth. The whole family's a Democrat. You'll have people in your family telling you, oh, well, just vote all Democrat. Well, do you even care who's on the ballot? No, it don't matter. Just all because, the Republicans, they all bad. And listen, I'm not, here caping for the Republicans, so I don't want anybody to think that. But we won't entertain any new knowledge. We won't even receive new knowledge. Have you ever tried to talk to a family member or somebody and you say, hey, I'm thinking about voting for one. Republicans ain't doing nothing for Black people. Democrats ain't doing nothing for Black people. So yeah, why don't we put forth a candidate that's actually going to be for Black people? And so once Black people start to entertain new ideas, then we're going to be better off. But just holding on to, we're holding on to, the Democratic Party. I can't even describe how tight we're holding on to them. It's but it's an abusive relationship is what it is. They've done nothing for us. It's almost like, a child holding on to an abusive mother, a mother who hasn't fed them, a mother who is, brutal to them and probably needs to have the children taken away. But the children are like, no, I don't want to go, please. One day she's going to treat me right. That's how we are as Black people to the Democratic Party. They have not showed us anything. They haven't given us one solid reason as to why we should continue to vote for them. But we do it because it's a tradition. It's a habit. Everybody else has done it, so I'm gonna do it too. So yeah, we do. We need a third party.
Yeah, dealing with the Democrats nowadays like smoking crack. Like smoking crack, man. You get addicted to dealing with them clowns. Yeah, I'm calling y'all clowns, man. And I know a bunch of I'm not gonna mess with Monroe no more. Don't. I don't give a damn. You don't do nothing for me. No way. And we need to wake up and see that. Who is the true enemy, man? Who is the true enemy? And you know what kills me? I know y'all see it. You know, I can't speak on California. I'm not familiar with the history of them. You know, they get to talking about right now. Let's talking about Mickey Leland. Man, shut up. Sheila Jackson Lee and all them people. Barbara Jordan, shut up. You know, Dr. King. Man, shut up. Shut up. You ain't built like that. You ain't built like them people, man. But man, these folk here, they just putting the wood to us, and it is what it is. USA vet, I'm sure 5-star can quote what LBJ said about blacks voting Democrat. Yeah, get them vote Democrat. We'll have them like that for the next 200 years. Y'all right on track. The Willie Lynch letters, you know, they working to perfection. And what LBJ said is working to perfection. It's working to perfection. You Democrats ain't worth a damn. Y'all ain't worth a damn, man.
Hey, Demetra, I saw you on the African Diaspora News channel, and you put a clip out that's kind of talking of what we're talking about in regards to. It's the one you did today. It loaded today. I think it was the second one. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I release so much content, you're gonna have to refresh my memory.
It has to do. It had to deal with what's his name. Well, let's just talk about like staying on code. Could you speak about staying on code?
Yeah, I mean, so our staying on code is we just stay together. We move as a unit as Black people. You know, we don't go jump and ship. Like the Ma'Khia Bryant case is a perfect example. Look how many Black people jump ship and victimized that girl before knowing the facts. Oh, that was a good shoot. No, you know, it looked like it was good to me, but wouldn't wait until more facts came out. And so the point that I'm making is we need to stay on the same page. Now, I'm not saying we need to stay on the same page with nonsense, okay? Because also being on code and adhering to, you know, Black codes, not the ones from Jim Crow, is that we hold each other accountable, and we let each other know, hey, that's not good behavior. You are out of line. You are out of order, right? But we need to stay on the same page at least until further notice, right? Especially in that example, let's wait and see all there is to see. And of course, more information came out about that case, and you know, a lot of people wrote her off, you know, as deserving to have that happen to her. So yeah, we just need to, because everybody else do it. Asians do it, you know, Hispanics, white people, they all stay on code regardless. I mean, if you think I'm lying, look at Blue Lives Matter. Anytime a Negro gets shot, it's a whole bunch of white people talking about, well, we didn't see what happened before that. Oh, well, you know, well, he should have complied. Oh, well, he was resisting and but they stay on code whether we like it or not. So that's what we need to do. Stop. Like, listen, you're never going to be good in the eyes of white supremacy. Never. There's nothing you could do. You could do a mean soft shoe. You could, you know, tap dance. You're like Jimmy the Cricket. You can do all of that, and they're never, ever, ever going to accept you for being your Black self. So it will behoove us as Black people to just get on code, like stick together. Just try it.
Yeah, you know, what I don't understand in regard to all these policemen, being in the military, they teach us hand-to-hand combat as well as, you know, shooting guns. And I was in the Air Force, so I shot my 20 rounds. I put the gun down. I went about my business. But they do teach us hand-to-hand combat. I do not understand in that situation, in a lot of these situations where if the taser isn't going to work, whatever, a person has a person with a knife really does not panic me because I know how to defend myself. And I do not understand, why are we spending resources in these police academies if they're going to shoot you? Just that's the first option, regardless of, you know, whatever's going on. And this is what we keep telling the new Black media. We're trying to make you guys critically think about things. Why are we spending all of this money and giving these policemen all of these tools Because that extra money that we can save, if they're just going to shoot everybody, just give them a gun and tell them to go walk around. They don't need a taser. They don't need a club. I mean, they have all the tools they need to deal with the situation, but they always seem to go to that gun. And that's because of the culture. I talked earlier about the 94 crime bill. Critically think, you guys, the states are incentivized by that bill to put as many people in jail for all kinds of stuff. You're hearing audio here in California. There was a police team that saw a guy just walking, the guy jaywalking. They said, let's go fuck with him. That's what they literally said on the tape. That guy ended up getting shot, shot down. He didn't die, but he got shot at. All because they can do it. But that bill incentivizes these police departments because for every dollar that they get and every person they lock up, the federal government, your tax dollars, is going to match it. So if Joe Biden does not speak about repealing that 94 crime bill, or your representative, if they're black, does not speak, because the Asian representatives ain't going to talk about it. The Hispanic ones ain't going to talk about it. If they don't talk about repealing that 94 crime bill, you guys might have a problem with your representative. You might need to start thinking about getting another representative in that office, because until that bill is repealed, we just went through a pandemic. What do you think these states are going to do to replenish their coffers from the taxes that they didn't get? That Asian bill is that's what it was, Demetria. You were talking about how the Asians are the bill is incentivizing the Asian bill is incentivizing them to put us back in jail. Could you elaborate on that?
Well, so because I know what it was. It was in regards to, I was actually in Houston, two sisters, I should say, got into it with the Asian beauty supply owner. The lady said that they knocked over some wigs, and then, they got into it, and the sister allegedly broke her nose and, roughed her up and all of that. And so she actually got charged with a hate crime. And so that bill, it's really for us. It's really for us. And because the lady said, she says, oh, you little Asian girl. That's what the Asian lady said, the sister said to her, which is really ridiculous. Come on now. You imagine a black woman running around whooping her butt, talking about you little Asian. It don't even make any sense. And so for that reason, they applied the hate crime charge onto her. But yeah, that bill is for us. And another thing, I don't know if you guys heard this story. It was in Ohio, I think. Some representative, I can't remember his name, but he has this school bill, House Bill 564 somewhere, and he wants to get rid of divisive teachings within history, right? And so while he was speaking, he says, with slavery, we need to also talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of slavery. And then another representative who was also a Republican was like, wait a minute. There was no good in slavery. What are you talking about? But it was really like a Freudian slip of the tongue. And so I said, well, or was it? Or are they really trying to get black people used to an idea? Because we keep hearing a lot about this slavery talk, and so are they trying to butter us up for something? Because, Donovan and I used to always joke about this. It's not going to be too long before we back on the plantation. Before we were joking. But now you're starting to see stuff and you're like, what are you really trying to say? Are y'all trying to, wrangle us up on the plantation? And really quick, you guys know these affordable housing complexes they're making. Who do y'all think they're moving over there? When they gentrify our neighborhoods, they build us affordable housing. They'll have us all in one spot. And guess what that becomes again? A project, the ghetto, like the ones that they used to have and still have it. So, we really need to open our eyes, because it's really going downhill for black people.
I've said the same thing. They just trying to bide their time till they pull us back in the change. That's all it boils down to, man. They just trying to bide their time till they put us back in the change. And what y'all gonna do about it, man? I mean, I'm at a point where I'm just trying to help communities, bro. Fighting the revolution, the shit gets tiresome after a while. It gets tiresome after a while, man, because, I got to deal with all these intelligent Negroes that seem to know every damn thing. You know, I'm just 2 sandwiches short of a picnic to begin with. You know, couple cans short of a 6-pack. You know, and I don't be knowing nothing. But I tell you what, man, I'm gonna let y'all know right now, y'all that's out there, if you come back with slavery, old 5-star bucking from the gate. I'm bucking from the gate, man. I'm not picking no cotton. I'm not doing nothing you tell me. I remember, I ain't gonna say it. I'm finna go find this thing. Do your thing, because this is how I feel. I'm gonna find it. Y'all sit tight. Y'all keep talking, Demetri and Donna.
Yes, we talk about affordable housing. There is plenty of housing in the United States. The problem is we have these landlords that are so damn greedy. Why isn't the government, instead of building more housing, because we're running out of room, we can't take our kids to the park, we can't go to the forest, we can't do anything because they're just, developers are just wiping everything out, right? The animals can't, have anywhere to live. So when a mountain lion kills your child or attacks your child, you want to put all the mountain lions down here in California. Why isn't the government talking about supplementing us to afford these homes that are available? Do you guys know that when this pandemic is over, when it's all said and done, we have told you on this show, Demetrius told you on her show, the 5-star always says it, pay your damn rent. The biggest group that is going to be affected by the end of this moratorium is going to be Black people, because instead of paying our rent, what do? And you can do what you want with your money. But this is what I'm saying. We are not mature. We went and bought other things instead of taking care of our responsibilities. So be ready, because there's going to be a lot of homeless Black people out there.
Can you hear?
Mayhaps I could have got away on beat for you catching me. You remember that. You remember that all day. You killed me. You remember that. You killed me. Niggas like you just prove what the Peckerwoods say. We're just beasts, willing to do anything. Kill each other. No mind, no feeling. Shut up, nigger. Least why I ain't gonna die like you gonna die. Like a slave. I ain't giving no lifetime of misery and sweat to this Peckerwood. I'd rather die than be a slave. You Peckerwood, that's right. You Peckerwood was oppressed in your own land. We was free. And you brought us here, in chains. But now we here, and you just better know, this is just as much our land as it is yours. And after you hang me, kiss my ass.
You bringing slavery back, huh? You can go and get rid of it, because 5-star
We are riding
feel
up
the same
the
way.
majestic hill.
5-star feel the same way.
That was strong. That was it right there. And and if that does happen, there's going to be a whole lot of folks wishing they had listened and been proactive to what the new Black media has been saying for years now. We're out here trying to ring the bell, and you guys are just asleep. You guys are the walking dead. Not you guys, but you guys know what I'm talking about. We've got to start critically thinking. It's amazing. What do you think about that clip, Demetri?
Yeah, I just think, unfortunately, a lot of people nowadays wouldn't be doing all that. But like, I'm sorry, I was gonna pick more cotton, massa. I mean, we all need to have that spirit. Either it's really freedom or death, and I just think that a lot of us don't have that, where we want to compromise. And I saw somebody made a good comment. Where did it go? Let's see here. It was Thunder. How you doing? By the way, it says fight, acquiesce, or run. That's really what we're looking at here, But a lot of us would run or just give in. So We need to have that ride or die, or you know, freedom or death mentality. So.
Well, I want to read Ron Trell's comment real quick. Ron Trell Bradford, he says, to make our situation better as Black peoples, we need to unfriend anybody who doesn't think and want what we need to advance our people. And that goes for family too. I
get it, but then I also think there was a time when we didn't know what we know. You know what I mean? And now I do agree with unfriending people who just don't want to, who are just ignorant and who goes against the grain. Because I do that often, because I'm just not going to argue with silly people, you know. But there's some people who just don't know what they don't know yet. And so I would say let them hang in there for a second, unless they just, you know, downright disrespectful. But eventually some people do get on board and say, hey, you know what? You're right. Okay, now I'm listening, right? So I just think we should be a little bit more gracious with some people. I ain't talking about everybody, but people who just don't know what they don't know yet.
Hold on a second. I'm trying to add something. We need better representation. I think we do. What y'all think, Demetri? I think we need to go find us somebody who gonna get in these closed door meetings and who gonna put it on their mind. This is my favorite politician, man. I'm telling y'all. I mean, I love him because he ain't got nothing scared about him. And I love it. Hold on a second.
Now say another word. You out of here. Go. You won't give me anybody else to finger sit at this table. You're out of here. You're out of here.
Complete chaos inside Flint City Council as council member Kate Fields tells council member Eric Mays to F off as she gives him the middle finger. And as you saw, Mays was not too happy about it. Fields left the meeting moments later, but tensions remained high. The fight started after Fields asked Mays not to interrupt her as she was asking about money from the Flint Water Fund that was previously used to.
I didn't order him to come back in here, Mr. Boo. Look, get him out. I'm asking him to go. Ain't nobody gonna walk past me in my face in no meeting saying nothing. When you get him out, so good this meeting. He come back next meeting. He don't run Flint. Now I'm asking you to get him out, and if you hesitate, arrest him.
You need a soldier in there, man.
Yep.
You need a soldier in there, man. What we got now is a bunch of goddamn clowns, Ringling Brothers, and well, no, not Ringling Brothers. I ain't gonna do that to y'all because some of y'all is Black. The Universal Circles that left some of y'all in these towns, man. And they need to come back and get your muck ass. Because y'all ain't standing up, you ain't fighting, you ain't doing nothing. You leaving it up to us, but you want us to be some suckers and some punks. We got to get rid of that punk mentality. I thought I heard somebody say that one day behind a pulpit. His name was Louis Farrakhan.
Share that.
Martin Luther King is going through an agonizing reappraisal. He doesn't belong to the decadent, aristocratic colonials of the civil rights movement. Who are the decadent aristocratic? Well, I don't want to call names, but the names are obvious. Martin Luther King has done a yeoman job, and he's got the guts to keep on doing it. And once he knows what Black power really means, he doesn't know what it means. What does it mean? It means dignity. It doesn't mean violence. It means integrity. It doesn't mean anti-white. It means pride in being Black. It means you're willing to cooperate with your white brother and sister if they're going to cooperate with you in terms of giving you the same things that they have. That's what it means. that you suggest that he might be going through an agonizing reappraisal that will wind him up where? Third phase of Black Revolution. And does that mean casting aside his principles of nonviolence? None of us have cast them aside. I don't think Stokely has either. This means that we have cast aside that we're not going to let nonviolence go all the way. That when nonviolence comes to the point of violence, we're going to meet violence with violence for our manhood. Well, Stokely, not because of Black power, but for our manhood, that's all.
I noticed, Dimitri, you walked back a little bit when you heard it last part.
I'm telling y'all, he's no longer here, but I do got a crush on him, boy. That's Adam Clayton Powell Jr. He was the first African-American congressman in New York, Harlem to be exact, and that was a Black man, okay? Don't get it twisted. That was a brother, and he was unapologetic about helping his people. And he's a congressman at that time. And that's was his attitude, but we don't see them like that anymore. He was like, I don't care. I'm for my people first. Whatever, even before he was a congressman, because, you know, he was the son of a pastor. He became one. But he was like, my people going to come first, regardless. And, you know, he also said, he was talking to the brothers. He said, what you need you a white girl for? He says, we got her from, what did he say? Chalk to chocolate. We got him in all ranges. Go on and get you a sister. So he was unapologetic. And you guys really should look into Adam Clayton Powell Jr. That man was about that life, okay?
And check this out. Real quick, a little lesson for you guys. The sad thing about Adam Clayton Powell, when he died and stuff and he left office, guess who took his seat? Charlie Shyster Rangel. And how did Charlie Shyster Rangel leave? Corrupt and nothing to show for it.
That is, you said something that caught my attention. That's what the problem is. Our Black representation is not unapologetically Black. They're not unapologetically Black. That's why it's easy for them to get out there and fight for kids in cages when Black people are being murdered by the police. That's why it's easy for them to get out there and fight for Asian hate when Blacks are being murdered by the police. You see what I'm saying? That's why it's easy for them to get out there and don't say nothing when our school system is messed up, because they're not unapologetically Black. And you know what? Those of us that are, we have a hard time getting in office. Not because you won't vote for us, but because the people that are already there make sure that we don't get in. They don't want unapologetically Black people in the building. See, me, I got a skill set. I can work with Democrats. I can work with Republicans. I can hold a conversation with the white man. I can hold one with the Black man. I can hold it with the Asian. I can hold it with the Latino. But you're gonna know one thing when you sit in a conversation with me. My people come first. My people come first. Well, man, we need your support on the kids in the cages. Okay, I can give you that, brother. Not a problem. But what you gonna do about these Black people being murdered by the police first? So that was happening before they started putting kids in cages. Can we talk about that first? And if we can't talk about that first, there's no need to continue this conversation. You see what I'm saying? You know, well, brother, look, I need your help with this Asian hate bill. Well, I tell you what, I don't have a problem giving you my support on it. You feel what I'm saying? But I got some Black children over here that's been in these schools, you know, the ones that's been built for 100 years, that ain't getting no education, that can't read. You know, I went to school where Dexter Manley graduated from and went all the way to the NFL and couldn't read or spell his name. Can you help me with that first? If you can help me with that first, then I can help you with your Asian crime bill. But if you're not helping me, I'm not helping you.
And that's a fact. And let's see here, Black Ricardo, how you doing? He said, by the way, he smoked. He could tell you don't give a F. He talking about Adam Clayton.
Hey, say when you're sitting around and you're serious about it, we tend to smoke because we ain't playing no games. Adam Clayton Powell was who he was. And he wasn't willing to compromise that or change himself for nothing. So get what? You're damn right. I ain't gonna smoke in the boardroom, but I'm gonna smoke in the parking lot.
And again, I'm not against any politician enriching themselves and becoming millionaires after, you know, doing an upset and all like that. All I'm telling you is if you're going to be on your way to making millions, don't you think that we should get a little bit of that and our neighborhood should look like you come from $1 million neighborhood as well? That's all I'm saying. That's what we should be saying as a people. How can Sheila Jackson Lee, your city council members, sit up there and live in these nice plush mansions and have all this property around the city, and your house and your neighborhood looks like Beirut? You know, it just doesn't make sense to me.
You say Beirut, but a lot of them do. And when you go from Houston to Newark to Dallas to Oakland to New York, go to the black neighborhoods, Chicago, Cincinnati, New Orleans, all of our communities look the same. So guess what, Sheila? Until you buy a house in the trenches of Third Ward, I don't feel like you from Third Ward. You live in the Black River Oaks, where ain't shit popping off. It is what it is. Now, Senator Boris Miles, he lived right there on the corner of McGregor and Scott. And the jackals went in his house one night. He know it's real. So what y'all gonna do about it? We don't need more police. We need more resources. People ain't out here robbing because it's the thing to do. They robbing because they ain't got shit. They robbing because you shut the country down and they can't get milk for their babies. Tell the truth why they running up in the Walmarts. Tell the truth about it. But they can't. And our representation won't step up and tell the truth. But you want to put me on your school board? You came knocking on my door. I'm like NWA. You book me. You know what you booked before I get to the venue. I'm not coming to play no games.
Absolutely. So yes, it's about being unapologetically black. When you take that seat, you are there to help everybody, but you're there to help your people too. And just as much, if not more. You don't get in there on the backs of your people and then turn your back on your people. But that's what they do. And then they continue to do it.
A bunch of them, D, they turn their back on them before they get in office.
Right. But they know, most of us say, well, they black. So I'm going to vote for them just because they black. And it's like, wow. And that is really being politically immature. Get to know what they are about. Sean King has been talking about a dude, and he's running for DA in Philadelphia, Carlos Vega. And on the surface, he looked like, maybe he's a brother, if he's Puerto Rican or something like that. But they said his track record shows that he has harmed so many black men by falsely imprisoning them, lying on them, just falsifying evidence, planting evidence. And the police union there has put him up to run for DA after he was fired for gross misconduct. And so a lot of people look at him and be like, oh, well, he looked like us. We're going to go on and vote for him. But it's like, no, look at his record. He's actually not for you.
I've had the opportunity to sit down on both sides of the aisles. I've sat down with countless numbers of Democratic candidates as well as actual politicians. I've sat down with countless number of Republican candidates and Republican politicians. I've sat down on both sides of the aisle. And you know what? Any help, and it's a damn shame that I got to say this again. Any help that I ever got from my neighborhood came from a white person or from a fucking Republican. Did not come from you black folk. And you black folk that's in office, if you don't like what I said, then prove me to be a lie. The only thing thing you've done for Third Ward in the last 5 years is paint Black Lives Matter in the middle of the goddamn street. But you were in cahoots 3 years ago with each other to take over our black schools and turn them into charter schools. Y'all ain't down with us, man. Your skin folk ain't your kinfolk.
Yeah, and then those same people who haven't done anything for you be the first person to tell you, oh, don't vote for the Republicans. Oh, they ain't no good. They don't like black people. But it's like, well, what did you do for me? Like, you're telling me not to go vote for them, but you haven't given me any alternatives or said that you're going to help me. You just, all you know is just don't go vote for them.
Well, I want you to expound on that. If you don't mind, can we go a little longer if that don't bother y'all? I want you to expound on that. They want you to believe that the Republicans are the devil, but yet they ain't doing nothing for you. These people are actually giving the police more money to do what they're doing. Expound on that, because that's profound what you're saying.
Yeah, well, let me just add this. For every time these people up the Democrats, like I said, Nancy Pelosi is a master politician. Okay, name me a bill in the 40 years Nancy Pelosi has been in Congress that was so profound and it affected the United States that name me that bill. You can't. In the last 60 years, no, let's go 70 years. So at the in the beginning of the 1960s, name me anything the Democratic Party has done for black people specifically that bettered our conditions. It doesn't exist. You guys it's a facade.
Satalia Brown, if I'm saying her name right, the young lady that killed the white guy for, what she did. How many black politicians stood up for that baby?
It wasn't cute until Kim Kardashian and Rihanna and all of them jumped on it.
But who was the first one?
Was it Kim Kardashian?
A white woman.
Mm-hmm.
To pardon Jack Johnson. How many black people stood up for that held positions of power? It's the white folk that just come through the door, no matter what their reasoning may be. If they did it for votes or whatever, they did it. But you had a whole black president that could have did it. But you let a crazy white one do what the black one didn't do. And you think you're going to keep falling for this? Now, get your house in order, man. We got to get our house in order, man. We in this game by ourselves. We in this game by ourselves. Whether it's police shootings, education, homelessness, sex trafficking, we in this game by ourselves.
Yeah, and under that black president, we had a whole host of Black Panthers that he could have advocated, for freeing them. We got Mamiya, he's about to spend his he's about to be 67, and he's been in prison his whole life, with the exception of his early 20s, but this
whole life. And Amber Guyton is appealing her sentence from 2 years ago.
And probably gonna get out. Because you remember the family
they don't need to be mad when Chauvin get out. Because that juror, push Maxine Waters to the side. What that juror said, that she made her determination based on the fact that she didn't want no violence and no riots, you violated the due process. The judge set it up for him. And the woman come out and say that. Man, if they taking odds on that in Vegas, I'm betting money on that one.
Yeah, and tonight you're right. He says, honestly, black people didn't hold Obama accountable nor ask for anything. No, we were just happy that we had a black man, because we've been told our whole lives, oh, there'll never be a black president. And when we got one, we just lost our minds. Oh my gosh, that's it. I can die happy now. We got us a black president. But you're right. And we never asked him. And the crazy part is I remember when Cornel West and Tavis Smiley were taking Obama to task, and a lot of people, including myself, I'll be honest, was like, oh, they just hating because, Obama's the first black president and, they just mad because it ain't them. But then when I woke up, and that's why I was saying earlier not to delete people because people are still learning, we didn't all think that way. But when I woke up and I thought about what Tavis and Cornel West were doing, I said, well, they're right. We should be asking something from Obama. He does owe us something. He got in office off the votes of black people. So he does owe us something. So, you're right. We didn't ask him for anything. We were just happy that him and, Shelly O, Michelle, the dog, and the kids and the mother-in-law, were in the White House. And that was enough for us.
Yeah. I was going to answer that. Go ahead, 5-star.
Oh, Fayetteville boy, we can come after me. So the Civil Rights Act of 1964 does not count as an accomplishment. Let me tell you something, Fayetteville. You think I really give a damn about what water fountain I drink up out of? Because I don't drink after everybody anyway. Y'all need to drink out the same water fountain. You needed to go to the same schools. Now, you're a teacher. How many lawyers and doctors you pumping up out them schools now? Or better yet, how many gang members you pumping out and how many strippers? No, we should have stayed where we were. And if you're going to be real with us, admit that y'all messed up with integration. You messed up, man. And you will not admit that you messed up because the same things that you fought for in 1964 is the same shit we fighting for in 2021. So how that work for you?
See, now, here's the thing. Now, I asked you guys, and I hope I said it correctly. I mean, let me know if I said it wrong. Did I not ask what did black people get from the Democratic Party specifically? I said that, right? Specifically. When you say civil rights, when you say affirmative action, when you say this or that, that's an everybody program. It has been proven that when black people are grouped into the everybody program, we are the least likely to benefit from it. Civil rights could be anything. The gays have civil rights now. Do you see what I'm saying? All that stuff like that. So specifically from the Democratic Party, what have they done for black people? I can tell you one thing that I know of that the Republican Party did specifically for black people. You guys might not agree with it. You guys might say that's bullshit. They freed the slaves. At least they got that on their resume. What has the Democratic Party done for black people specifically?
And you know what, Demetri? How do you feel about the fact that, maybe you might differ from me? I feel that integration was a failure. And if you feel that way, how do you feel about the fact that the people that's placating right now will not admit that they fucked up?
Well, I just think it's having a little bit more knowledge and understanding. While the Civil Rights Bill of 1964 basically said that discrimination, for race, gender, and everything else, especially, in regards to the labor, working and all that, I guess it was okay. But if they were really trying to help black people, why didn't they give us reparations? If they're really trying to help us, why didn't they rebuild Black Wall Street so we wouldn't have to worry about being discriminated against? Because then we would be amongst our own people. But what they really did was they gave us symbolism via a bill and say, well, now you can go knock on a white man's corporation and try to get a job. And even if he doesn't like you, it is now illegal for him to discriminate against you. But all it did was just keep you a servant. That's all it did, because it is taught, because you guys, Fayetteville, your generation has taught us, go get that good job. Go on and work in that factory. Go on and get you a good job. You can retire and get you a nice pension. And so with that bill, we were able to get into different corporations and, federal governments and jobs we weren't usually able to get. And so all it did was just legislate a way to keep us on the plantation. But again, if they was really trying to help us, they would have given us something, given it back to us, right? Not giving us something for free, giving us what they've taken from us and what they robbed from us via slavery. Should have gave us reparations and helped us rebuild all the towns that their people burnt down. And they would have never had to hear from us again. But your generation was so busy, as my friend Jonelle says, you guys wanted the illusion of inclusion. I just want to go be and work with white people. I want to go live with white people. And it dilapidated the Black community as it used to be. So.
And you know what's so crazy? Affirmative action. You wouldn't have needed it if you kept your own goddamn companies. They don't get it. Affirmative action. Instead of, like you say, wait, go get a good job and put your retirement in. Why are we not screaming own your own shit? Fayville, you a teacher, baby. You can't tell me that Black children wasn't getting a better education when they were just going to Black schools. I graduated from a school that's about to be 100 years old, that was started by a former slave. Jackie A. Senior High School. We pumped out more. You really would be amazed at some of the people that have graduated from the Black high schools. But all of a sudden, that wasn't good enough for us no more. We had to send our babies with state troopers to go up in these schools that these people didn't want us in. And we sold our schools when we did it. And now we're trying to recover from it. But the first thing we got to do is admit we messed up. And y'all will not admit that. You sold us out so that you could be inclusive. And until this day, they still don't want us there. Why you think they will not change the issues with the United States Constitution? Because you don't have the means to make them change it. That was not written for us. And yet we're governed by these laws that were signed by people that owned us. And you think they wrote that for us? No.
Right. Fayetteville says, but the Republican Party that freed the slaves was from the North and became the Democratic Party. And in the late 1960s, that same Democratic Party worked into the Republican Party. And that's why we have the thing called Dixiecrat. So, you're dealing with schematics. So again, specifically, what has the Democratic Party done for Black people specifically?
Nothing. They've done nothing. They've done nothing, and they continue to do nothing. We demand nothing from them. We want to demand from a party that does not represent us. But we won't demand from the people who say they stand up for us every day. If I got a problem with a friend, I go to him, I talk to him. We're going to battle it out. So you Black politicians in the city of Houston, why can't I talk to you right now? Because you don't like me. You don't like the fact I tell the truth. You want to hide me behind some rocks. But the whole time, it ain't the Republican Party. I don't give a damn how you say it. It ain't the Republican Party or them white folks screwing Black people. It's them Black folk and them Black politicians that's screwing the Black community.
That is true. So yeah, I mean, we did, like I said, let's say we actually demanded something this time, but Carvizi, I hope I said it right. So you said we actually demanded something this time, but the bootleg silenced us. Yeah. And again, I don't know what Joe Biden is saying. I have to go back and watch it, but he's speaking to the bootlegs. He's not speaking to us. He's speaking to the people who go disown you if you say
speaking to the Chucks and Pearls people. He's speaking to the Chucks and Pearls people.
Yeah, that's what he's speaking to, because he still know they got a little bit of fight left in them, and they gonna fight off everybody that says something bad about old Joe, So that's who he's speaking to. He gonna, and I almost don't want to listen, but for journalistic purposes, I'm going to.
Well, you do it for the family, because I ain't listening to nothing the clown got to say. Do it for the family, because I can't listen to it. I cannot listen to nothing he has to say. It is what it is. He is who he is. So, you know, he's speaking to the Chuck Sanders. He's speaking to the people that we just want Trump out of there. That's who you're speaking to. You speaking to the sleep Negroes. Nobody in the Biden camp would ever have a conversation with me. I'm too woke. I'm too woke. Demetri is too woke. Donovan is too woke. They wouldn't talk to us to save their lives because we can see the smoke screen. And honestly, I wouldn't want to talk to Biden. I'd want to talk to Mnuchin. I'd want to talk to the old man, the gangster from Kentucky. I want to talk to the real people in charge.
Well, I got a question for you. I got a question for you, 5-star. Your boy McConnell, the gangster, is now the minority leader. How is he still obstructing everything that goes through there? Why even give him a title of majority or minority?
He working both sides of the house. He working both sides of the house. Now they're gonna tell you don't talk to the Republican Party, but they talking to him. They're gonna tell you don't listen to them. They evil. But you steady eating, you drinking tea and crumpets with them every day. Yeah, he working both sides of the house. And I ain't mad at him.
And tonight, they say, whatever happened to the conversation with Q? You know, I think they said that, well, yeah, I think they said that because maybe they saw that the Negroes were getting a little restless. So let's go on and throw that in there and put it out there that we're going to be meeting with Ice Cube. And yeah, as far as I know, that's never happened. And they're not trying to meet with Ice Cube to say, yeah, we're going to give you everything you wanted for, asked for. We're going to they're not meeting with him for that. They're doing it for symbolism. But the thing is, they're underestimating Ice Cube because Ice Cube is very smart, you know, and he will come out and say, hey, they was with the shits, okay, and I wasn't.
And you know what's so crazy? Q put together something and asked for something. They've ignored him. The Asians didn't ask for shit. And they got legislation out the deal. And I keep saying, and I don't give a damn, I do not see this black on Asian thing. I don't see it. It's a mirage to me. I just don't see it.
Fayetteville says, what do you all think about Biden-Harris free community college program for all high school graduates to get an associate degree? Chicago's had that for 2 years. Well, you know, you can give everybody all the free education you got. If you ain't got no jobs, what's the point? What would be the point of that?
What you could do, what they could do is give us the funding we need in our public schools so that we can have pre-AP and AP classes, and they can have dual credit classes, and they can graduate with their degrees, and they wouldn't have to go to college and spend all that money.
Right. And then, you know, and real quick, let me add to that. Once again, it's an everybody program. So who is that going to benefit predominantly? The numbers don't lie, Fayetteville. The numbers don't lie. When it's an everybody thing, Black people are the least to take advantage of it or to benefit from it. So for Black folks, I mean, it's a great program overall. Great. Everybody could go to school free. There ain't no jobs. Who's the least likely to get jobs? Black people. Who are right now during this pandemic, who was greatly affected? Black people, because we're the services industry. I can't go to a restaurant and bust tables. I can't, you know, do what I got to do.
His big infrastructure plan and all that. Who you think gonna have them jobs?
White folks. That's for white folks. He's not talking about Black folks.
Okay, but white folks, when you ride down the freeway and they doing construction, what nationality you see working out there?
Mexican, Hispanic, white women.
And most of them are illegal, and the Blacks done figured out they're illegal, so they rob them on payday and they can't do shit about it. They can't call the police because they might go back, get deported. How are you giving these jobs to people that ain't got a right to be here? But yet you won't give that black man a second chance when he come out of prison. You won't give him a second chance, and a whole bunch of them been thrown in there for no reason. Yeah, come on. We can have this discussion.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just a bunch of nonsense. Honestly, Joe Biden could have stayed at home. I know he's tired. No, he ain't trying to be up this late.
And that man, the real Jed Clampett, man.
He ain't trying to be up this late. So, yeah, I mean, it's really sad, but this is partially our fault as black people. They're going to continue to give us what they think we really want, and that's nothing at all. I mean, like I said, I'm interested in hearing what he has to say, but I haven't seen anybody who's listening to it say he said he's going to actually do something, to stop the murder. Don't mention the police murdering black people, and you're not going to do anything about it, especially when you possess the power to do that. I mean, come on. So I don't know. It's just it's crazy if you ask me.
Final thoughts, Donovan.
Hey, my final thoughts are, we've been hoodwinked, we've been bamboozled. We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us. How long are we going to continue to be bamboozled? You guys got smartphones. Google this shit. It's not hard at all. But at the rate that we are going to be in trouble. And I don't care what anybody says. If you cannot repeal that 1994 crime bill that incentivizes the police departments all across the nation, the continuings and the murders of black people will continue.
Final thoughts, Ms. Demetra.
I'm just going to really just kind of piggyback off of Fayetteville when she was talking about they want to give 2 years associate's degree. What you going to do with that? What you going to do with an associate's degree? Hell, you can barely do anything with a bachelor's and a master's. I mean, I'm not trying to be negative, but I'm just speaking from experience. I mean, to get an associate's degree is cute, but hell, they paying some people with masters. They want to get them $15, $17 an hour. It's like, is you high? So I mean, it's cute, but it's symbolism. It's really just throwing a bone to people, saying, "Here, lick on that for a minute."
Say, sometime the higher power gonna take you through hell to get you there. And you can best believe we living in the pits of hell right now. Say, man, it's a reason we the best in the business, man. It's the war zone every night, 7 o'clock, Facebook and YouTube. I want to thank my good friend Donovan Sadiq, the Queen, Demetra K, and I am the 5-star general. Tomorrow night we talking money, man. The money man gonna be in the building. Hopefully he just stayed out of Montgomery County. It is what it is. Walter Couture will be here tomorrow night. Until then, I'll let you.